Football in Focus, teed up indoors on Battleground, home of Davis Troxler and Davis's golf team. Great golf people here. Got Jay Ramey with us in the Rock coming back for us again this week. Got some football news in the Rock. First of all, tell me about this kid, Bryce Baker. Some last week against Northeast Gilbert. I think he's one of the best players in Rockingham County. The guy's a good runner, good passer, does about everything, plays defense, interceptions. Talk about that guy some.
Very fun to watch. You know, we've seen him intercept the ball. We've seen him put his head down and run touchdowns in. We've seen him be able to throw it halfway across the field. He's one of the most entertaining players to watch because you never know what he's going to do. And he's kind of like Josh Allen, you know, put his head down, he wants to run it, but he also can throw it when he needs to make that play.
I think last week maybe about 12 or 14 passing, about 160 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and on defense got the pick, so he does everything. They've got some other good players too back there in that lineup.
They sure do. They have Luke Stripmatter. He's I believe he's a sophomore, and I think he's going to be next in line for quarterback. That's a possibility. I saw him play a couple plays earlier in the season. They've also got Malik Bryant. He was injured for part of the game that I went to when they played Dudley, but you know, there was one play earlier in the season where he just chucked it up, and Malik Bryant somehow came down with the catch. Nobody could believe it.
What about the Rock as far as Rockingham County goes, the school, Rockingham County High School? Do you think these guys have got that edge maybe to get the playoffs now?
Oh yeah. You know, they're 6-3 now. I think they basically secured it when they beat Northeast Guilford. That was a game that all of us in Wentworth were very nervous about, but you know, they toughed it out. 5-point win. A win's a win, and that was probably the most important game that we've seen in Rockingham County playoffs-wise this season.
Your buddy Joe Dexter was there too, broadcasting that game. He was there. He had a partner with him. They had another guy. They were doing some video and audio to broadcast the games. They were bringing it back to the people in Rockingham County. I'm sure the fans. 18-13 final, 8-7 at halftime, 11-7 third quarter. A very, very close game.
Odd score too. 18-13, 18 and 13. Both of those aren't really numbers you get in a football game.
Yeah, they got the 8 points to start things off. Got the field goal, then the touchdown. So it kind of all came together like that. Yeah, and he got a pretty good field goal kicker too. Is it Zune? Is that how you pronounce it? H-Z-U-N?
I'm actually yes. This is because I remember looking down at my notes and I was like, I wonder how I pronounce this.
Yeah, drop the H just goes Z-U-N. Mr. Zune, good kicker also. And they have
I believe they refer to him by his first name most of the time because Zune is so hard to say.
Right.
It says Ale.
What if we could get that guy's name? We have to look him up. They had a running back to go along with Baker, who's a quarterback. They had that running back. He was number 4. That guy was also strong as an ox. Yeah, yeah. I'll go back and look at my notes later on to find the guys. But they've got talent on that team. They should. Who do they play tomorrow night?
They play Atkins, who is they're 2-7. So
yeah, they'll wear them out.
You know,
playing at home too, right?
Yes, I believe they're playing at home.
Yeah,
they'll be at Cougar Pride Stadium up against Atkins, and you know, trying to solidify it. Get to 7 wins, 7-3. 700 is not a bad season.
Yeah, I think they'll do well to get that point, and they'll look really good there. And you think about the coach there, Coach Baker, very good coach too. Watched his work on the field. I talked to him before the game. He's got it together. He used to coach, I think, at Reidsville as assistant coach and got that job at Rockingham County. But very good coach, Coach Baker, leading the Cougars.
You know, they've made some good decisions, and I mean, when you win 7 games, careless errors, they're not having those. I mean, the teams they've lost to, Reidsville, Eastern Guilford, Dudley, those are all some pretty good schools, and you know, the rest of their wins have been good ones. And they've been able to tough it out when it's gotten down to the wire. What
about Reidsville last week? Talk about the Rams. I think they rolled over somebody, right?
Yes, they did, as usual, and they beat T.W. Andrews 55-7.
And T.W. Andrews one of the better teams in that conference.
Oh yeah, T.W. Andrews, they're 5-4 right now. They'll be playing McMichael tomorrow in a pivotal matchup. You know, one of the biggest games of the season.
So Reidsville last week, a lot of numbers, I'm sure, for Harrison. Probably. Deontay Neal maybe getting involved again some too?
I believe Deontay Neal's still injured. Unless he came
back
somewhere.
Yeah, I saw some film. Unless they had the wrong guy's name on TV, he was back playing some.
Well, that's good. And, you know, the right time too. They're 9-1 heading into the playoffs, 6th ranked by Max Preps in 2A. So,
and Ali, the quarterback, big numbers, putting those up too.
Ali is a very entertaining quarterback to watch. And tomorrow against Morehead.
Going to be a long night for Morehead.
Yeah.
Man.
It's never fun to see the county beat up on each other, but you know what they say on any given Friday. And
what about yourself? Which game do you hit to tomorrow night?
I'm debating on it.
Okay.
You know, because
gonna flip a coin.
I'm thinking. Reidsville, Morehead, you know, it's a county battle, but
we're
pretty
sure
sure Reidsville's going to win.
Yeah.
Rockingham, they're probably going to beat Atkins. But McMichael versus T.W. Andrews, very evenly matched. If they win that, they get an automatic qualifier into the playoffs. So this is definitely something that they need to win. And
now your research you've been doing, is this one of those games where the winner of that game gets in automatically? So if Andrews wins, they're in. If they lose, they're out.
I'm not 100% sure.
So everything tomorrow night between those two teams,
but
it's right there at it.
Yeah, because you want to finish over 500, and they're both same record, but McMichael, they've got the biggest range in the whole county. You know, they can play really good or really bad, and you know, we've seen them do everything this season. But they're top performers. They've got Hayden Meeks, Cody Oakley on the defensive side. They've also got Jaden Moore, Cody Peters, Jace Dunn, Michael Vasquez, and some of their guys can play offense and defense. You know, you'll see they get a touchdown, and they also force a fumble or get an interception in the same game.
The way it's laying out for you right now, the teams that'll be in the playoffs. What's your prediction here? I know we've got Reidsville going in. You feel Rockingham County's going in?
I feel Rockingham County's going in. McMichael, they're ranked 44th in 2A by Max Preps, but that loss to Walkertown, 27-28, just it was devastating. We all walking in, you know, it's the old cliche. Any given Friday, a team can win. High school football is very unpredictable, and when you've got a team like McMichael, who, you know, they can play really good or really bad. But
the funny thing about Walkertown also is last year had a much better record with them last year.
Yeah, but they fell off kind of this season.
They had the quarterback last. His name was Bryce Baker. Also, Bryce Baker went to East Forsyth. Now leading East Forsyth Eagles to all the wins they've got going on. So they lost that quarterback. They lost a lot at Walkertown. Big difference there.
Yeah, but it definitely a tough loss. You know, I'm kind of leaning toward going to the McMichael T.W. Andrews game because of all that's riding on that one. And McMichael's played in some crazy games this season. You saw Morehead, they barely edged them out 34-28. Week after that, they went to North Forsyth and won 20-12, but then they made it close with Reidsville, 18-34, and Reidsville's used to blowing teams out. Their past two games have been within one possession. So McMichael's definitely the most entertaining team in the county just because you never know what to expect with them.
So you kind of lean now toward McMichael and Andrews tomorrow night.
Yeah, I've flip-flopped so much. I had it on my calendar go Reidsville, Morehead, and then I changed it to Rockingham, and then I saw who McMichael was playing, and, you know, it's a tough decision.
Going to get some good chances probably in the playoffs to go see Reidsville play at home.
Oh, yeah.
They'll probably be home until about the last couple of games. The last game they can't be at home. But
Reidsville's the powerhouse. They've won, 22 state championships.
Right. And then, like I said, Coach Baker at Rockingham County, he coached under Coach Jimmy Teague when he was there. He also coached Coach Eric Teague when Eric Teague.
A lot of players have played under Jimmy Teague.
It's quite the tree, isn't it? Quite the tree.
Definitely. He's like, you know, the greats in the NBA, NFL coaches. You can tell how good they are based on their coaching tree and who's came out from under them.
And you look at Rockingham County as a whole, you still see it's going to be three. You can't put it down completely, but you feel pretty certain now 3 teams in the playoffs.
McMichael's got to win, in my opinion. You know, I think they can win, but you never know what to expect with the Phoenix. Fighting Phoenix, they're 5-4. They're right on the edge of 500. We really want them to win here in Rockingham County, but you never know what to expect. If I had to make a prediction right now, I'd say that they'd get into the playoffs.
If you had to pick maybe like an all-county, you can't get all these guys, but maybe 4 or 5 guys that are guaranteed locks. You got Reidsville, quite a few, but some other guys from the other schools. Maybe about a 7 or 8 man all-county team from Rockingham. Who would be on that Rockingham County all-county team for you right now?
Well, Jaden Moore, the running back for McMichael, he's just a beast.
Would he get Player of the Year?
I'm not sure. But he's so much fun to watch. I remember one time he had like 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, and then they just rested him for the rest of the game. But who knows what he could have done? And you know, there's good players all around Rockingham County. I'd say Britton Barnes from Morehead, he had 2 interceptions that were very crucial in the game. Morehead lost to North Forsyth last week by 2 touchdowns. It was a close game, you know, could have gone either way.
Was that their closest game of the year, chance to get the win?
Actually, no. They missed a 2-point conversion against Rockingham earlier in the season. That was the second week. We remember that. It was crazy. and lost 20
and
to
Rockingham's
22.
got better since then, too, right?
Yes, and then they lost to McMichael by 6. So Morehead's had some close games. At Walkertown, they only lost by 13, but some of their games have been a lot farther apart than those.
Who else on that all-county team from Rockingham County?
Britton Barnes, Jaden Moore. You know, McMichael, they've got Hayden Meeks and Cody Oakley. Those are some defensive guys. Michael Vasquez, we've seen him do some crazy stuff. Jace Dunn and Bryce Baker, you know, we've talked about him. They're very impressive as well. Malik Bryant, probably one of the main wide receivers. But if we're not talking about Reidsville, those are the guys. But
there's some Reidsville guys in right quick that have to be there, though.
There's a lot of Reidsville guys. Ken J. Harrison, Jarrell Cobb, Cameron Jones, Flip.
Yeah, Flip. What's Flip's last name?
Flippin.
So Flippin. Anyway,
I'm actually not sure how to pronounce. I think it's Kashin.
Kashin. Saw some numbers about him coming out this week. Might have been on your article. Some things that he has done this season as far as his numbers goes.
Very impressive.
Almost
player.
Off the charts.
And the Reidsville is so deep. You know, they've had some injuries this season, and they're 9-1, and their only loss, or they're 8-1, and their only loss was by 5 points to Eastern Alamance. So you can tell how good a team is by how well they deal with injuries, and the fact that they've only lost one. How far back was that
game? It was almost like the first or second game of the season,
wasn't it? It was actually the 4th week.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of funny. Reidsville, they win by double digits, and their fans still get a little bit antsy because of how great they've been over the years. But you know, they overcame the injuries. Their last 5 games haven't been close. You know, the closest game was a 16-point game to McMichael. And, you know, this game against Morehead is probably not going to be too close tomorrow night.
So right now you're leaning more toward the McMichael-Andrews game as far as your game of choice for Friday.
Yes, but, I mean, that's not set in stone. But, you know, now that I've had to do some thinking about it, but McMichael, this is a must-win for them. It's almost a playoff game, especially after that loss to Walkertown.
What about on the other schedule here? What about the Panthers this week against the Houston Texans? Any chance the Panthers get that win this week? Going against C.J. Stroud? Some people are saying that the Panthers should have taken Stroud instead of Bryce
Young. 1 pick versus 2
pick. Yeah.
Now, I don't know about that because they were the 1 pick for the reason and the Texans were the 2 pick for the reason. The Panthers lost more games.
Right.
And it's not like the draft lottery in the NBA. I think the Panthers can win it. You know, it's all about the scheme you're in. So, I mean, you see what the 49ers can do with any quarterback.
Correct.
So you can't just blame it all on the quarterback. That's what we NFL fans like to do. But I think the Panthers could win it. But if I had to choose, I would say the Texans.
And I think that after that they've got the Colts coming up next, chance to win that game and a chance to win the Bears game. They got the 3 best chances of the season coming up here.
I was upset about Anthony Richardson going down for the season. You know, that's always sad to hear, especially after how hard he worked.
The film was roughing him too, taking those shots with his shoulder. He had that bad one that ended everything. He had some other shots he took too during the season.
Yeah, and the Bears, that will be interesting because the Bears and the Panthers made a pretty interesting trade over the offseason. You'll see a little bit of competitive edge in that one.
It'll be fun to see DJ Moore play again and see if he scores as he takes his helmet off. Remember that game?
No, but I've seen a lot of players do some crazy stuff. Oh, I know what you're talking about, where he threw it off and then they lost the game because of it.
He had to move back the extra point kick and he missed it. Yeah.
I felt bad for him.
That was a crazy game. That was a game they had.
That's one of those games that's sickening for either side.
They missed the extra point and then the game had to go to overtime. They got beaten overtime. That was even more insult to injury there. I'd really go and lose in regulation. Get me out of here.
Maybe he knew where he'd go.
Whew. Yeah, he knew he was gone probably at that point of the season. That might have had a lot to do with his trade happening there.
Ironic which team he went to.
Yeah, it is. It is how it turned out. And what about the Tar Heels? Will they bounce back from that loss to Virginia last week?
I was upset about that one. I think they will, but you know, in college football, it's hard to predict what's going to happen from week to week. Carolina and Virginia, that's an old rivalry, and
Virginia always seems to have their number. Just unfortunately for Carolina, just a tough loss.
Rivalry games, you never know what's going to happen. It's impossible to predict. You know this, especially in high school football. Rivalry games are just different.
I hadn't seen the numbers, can't remember the numbers. I wonder how Tez Walker did that game. He had the big game the week before. He had 3 touchdown receptions. Didn't hear much about his name in that game last week, though.
Not exactly sure.
Good having you here this week again, and tomorrow night we'll see you on the website.
Thank you for having me.
Everything's going well as far as the articles go. They're coming up nice and clean, and good stuff, good information, so keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Are you excited about basketball season right around the corner?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Going to be some interesting high school teams here in Rockingham County and in Greensboro.
Yeah, Greensboro's
excited to see Kendra. You know, we've seen him on the football field. I watched some of his games last year.
Key to him is just stay healthy. He does so much. He's so active, so much involved.
And I think Deontay Neal, he's definitely leaning towards basketball.
Yeah, quick guard. He can move fast. Thank you much, Jay.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Football in Focus from Teed Up on Doors on Battleground. We'll be back after this.